everybody, it's RT here with Hxro.
All right. All right. Give me just a second, boys and girls. I need to get the word out. Let's see here. Okay. How's the music, guys? Is the music okay? It's not too loud? You guys can hear me okay? This is a playlist I haven't listened to, so I don't know if it's any good. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, cool. Everything good? Music good level? Amazing. Okay. Very good, very good. Give it just a second for people to trickle in here. Okay. Thoughts on Doge? I mean, there's really not much to say. Look, here's the deal with shit like Dogecoin. You know, Dogecoin had a parabolic blow off. Dogecoin is literally some of the biggest garbage there is. Dogecoin has absolutely horrific inflation, and we are in a bear market. So, thoughts on Dogecoin? Well, Dogecoin is going to Goblin Town, even more so than it already is. Big time. Yeah, I mean, fuck. I mean, look, nobody cares about Dogecoin. Like, the amount of fucking retail plebs that, you know, got burned on Doge is just fucking ridiculous. So, don't worry too much about that. Why'd you buy that car and crash the market? When I did buy that car, I said, like, this is a car I shouldn't be able to buy, and you guys should probably sell everything, to be fair. It's been a good car, though. Kind of embarrassing. So I was at a gas station, right? This happened a couple weeks ago. There's this nice guy in a Mercedes SUV in front of me, and this guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, like, you know, do you have like $5 or whatever? I need some gas, you know, to get home." And I was like, "Well, you know, I don't have any cash," but I was like, "I'll go swipe my card at your pump. You know, and you can put some gas in your car if that works for you. Is your car at the pump?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, you know, my car's at the pump." So he's like, imagine 200 and not 200, maybe 300 degree. You know, he's if we're in a grid, you know, and 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I'm at 4 and he's at 1. I go swipe my card, you know, he's putting gas in his car or whatever. The dude in front of me drives off with the fucking gas handle in his car. Boom, rips it off the pump. You know, everybody's like, holy shit, like, right? Everybody's like going nuts. But it was so chaotic that, you know, no, I didn't get robbed or anything. It's not like that. It was so chaotic. You know, my car was done filling up with gas and the gas station was fucking slammed. You know, it was like one of those big like Loves or, you know, like one of those big mega gas stations. And I was like, holy shit, like I need to get out of the way, you know, because there's like people waiting on these pumps and shit. And my wife was still inside, you know, use the restroom or whatever. So I just went and got back in my car and I reversed, right? But I forgot to take the gas pump out of my car too. So I fucking ripped the gas pump or rip the fucking nozzle off the gas pump too. Unfortunately, I reversed and no, I ripped the gas door off my car, like broke the fuck out of it. So it was like one of the most embarrassing fucking things ever. You know, my $150,000 Mercedes, like, at the gas station. And literally this happened 1 minute after the dude in front of me did the same thing. Now, here's where it gets better. So I back up. I'm like, oh my God, like, God damn it. So I'm like, okay, like, this is embarrassing as fuck. So no. Well, the gas, just listen. Okay, here's the story. So I went up and I got the nozzle, right? And there's this guy that was like, oh, they're designed to pull off, like, don't worry about it. He was like, just take the nozzle and stick it back up there. And I was like, oh, word, you know, like, I'll totally do that. And I took the nozzle and I put it back up there. And the second I fucking touched that, like, the connector, right? Gas just starts just pouring out of that motherfucker. I mean, pouring. And I'm watching my bill and it's going 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. I'm like, no! No! So I'm like, where's the emergency shut off? I'm like looking and like scrounging around like, holy fuck, I gotta turn this off. I got gas. Look, I'm on my way to the beach. I've got gas fucking all over me. I've got 2.5 hours left of my drive. No! I can't find the emergency set off. So fortunately, it turns out that guy that I swiped my card for, his wife works at the gas station and she had come out and she runs inside the gas station. Is like, shut off the pump, shut off the pump, shut off the pump. So I had to go to the hardware store. So this is, at first I was like, God damn it, like this sucks. Like I was looking forward to drive my nice car to the beach and, you know, flexing a bit, driving around and having a good time. But now, like, I look like a fucking, you know, bum, you know, like bumfuck Alabama, like with a ripped off car door, right? So I was just like, well, you know, fuck, whatever. Like, I'll just drive to the beach. Like, we're all good. So I get in the car and I start driving and the car's like, bing, 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 bing. Your gas door's open. I'm like, dude, my gas door is ripped the fuck off. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I go to the gas station across the street and I'm like, I call the car dealership and I'm like, yo, like, look, I've got like 2.5 hours left to drive. And this shit won't stop beeping. I was like, is there a way to disable the gas door is open alert buzzer or whatever? And they were like, sorry, sir, there's not. And I was like, holy fuck, like, this is really bad now. So I got some of that industrial strength epoxy, you know, the kind that holds like 3,000 PSI, you know, mix that shit up. Yeah, mix that shit up. And the actual plastic connector between like the hinge and the gas door itself was shattered. You know, it's fragmented. So I epoxied that shit back together and, you know, I had to push it back in. You know, at the end of the day, it all ended up being fine. I still hadn't gotten it fixed just because I'm lazy and because it looks normal. But right now, I can't just go push on the gas door and have it open. Like, not only do I have to push on it, I've got to push on it and then pull it out with my credit card. Yeah, but I've been meaning to go by the Mercedes dealership and, you know, get them to do something about that. Anyway, that was some pretty funny ass shit. And it, like, honestly, like, at the time, it seemed like one of the worst days of my life. Oh, and like the crypto markets were crashing at the same time. I was like in the worst mood anyway. But yeah, you know, it was not a good experience. Not a good experience at all. Wait a minute. This Doge millionaire dude is verified on Twitter. Wow, okay. Yeah, I've always been a bit of a MacGyver, you know, growing up I had, you know, definitely like a huge silver spoon in my mouth. Huge, you know, I was very fortunate, probably one of the more wealthy kids at school, and I went to a wealthy school. But like I was always raised pretty good, you know, like my parents were always like, this is our money, like this isn't your fucking money. Like ever since I turned 15, I had to have a job to buy clothes, to, you know, go to a movie, to pay my insurance, to put, you know, put gas in my car, like all this fucking shit, right? And yeah. It's just like, my dad always taught me, like, our washing machine would break, you know, the typical rich guy thing to do would be to call somebody, right, or go get a new washer, but, you know, my dad would fucking source the parts, order them, and we'd sit there all fucking day taking that shit apart, you know, and putting, you know, replacing the parts, fixing it and all that. So, you know, back in the day, like, I was always just like, dude, you know, like, what the fuck, like, you know, you're rich, like, why don't you just, you know, why don't you just fucking pay somebody to do it or do this? And my dad was always like, well, you know, I'm rich because I can do stuff like this, you know, and I'm smart about my money. So that was a good lesson for me growing up. I didn't go to an all boys private school, but I did go to a private school. I think I had maybe 50, 60 people in my graduating class, and we were one of the larger graduating classes. One of the cool things about that experience, though... Wow, Larry, are you from where I'm from? I didn't go to Indian Springs. I went to the other one. One of the interesting things about that situation, though, is, like, I was always friends with... You know, when your class is that small, like, you know, I feel like in a big public school, it's like... you know, you're friends with your grade, and that's pretty much it. But in that situation, like, we couldn't afford to just be friends with our grade or just date people in our grade or whatever. Like, we had to be friends with the guys, you know, that were older than us, the guys that were younger than us. It's a pretty good experience. Anyway, let's talk about some crypto. The crab market, right? So the biggest scam of this cycle was convincing you that we are in a crab market. Because when you look at the price action, we're clearly not in a crab market, right? We're not. We're not in a crab market. Like, this is a bear market. You know, everybody convinced you that, and here's the thing, like, the last cycle, like, we didn't even have a fucking crab market. Like, it was either a bull market or a bear market. Like, it's binary, right? So this cycle, you know, and here's the thing, like, bulls from the last cycle, you know, were unable to flip bias, of course, you know, when it came time to do so. And so this cycle, the scam was that the term crab market was introduced because bulls don't want to be bears, right? Bulls, it's just gross. It's ugly. You know, I'm a bull at heart. I hate being bearish. It sucks. You know, I can't even celebrate with my buddies. Everybody's too scared to short anything. Like, everybody's too scared of some, like, random god pump out of nowhere. We're just in a bear market. It is what it is. But this time around, somebody came up with this crab market meme and convinced everybody that, hey, I know everything's dumping to hell, but we're in a crab market, so you're gonna be okay, right? It's not a bear. And a lot of people that were bullish and know that it's not bullish anymore, but don't want to be bearish, said, oh, yeah, crab market, you know, okay, like, crab market, yeah, that's what we're in, for sure. We're not in a fucking crab market. We're just fucking not. Like, this is a bear market. The real question here, and I don't know the answer to this, okay? The real question here is how deep this bear goes. Because typically, right, Bitcoin, Ethereum, like, we're going to pull back 80%. You know, Bitcoin pulls back 80%, right? Here's the thing, though. Everybody continued to say, and keeps saying, like, that last Bitcoin top that we saw was unlike any Bitcoin top they've ever seen, right? It didn't have this big parabolic rise and then blow off. Now, my theory behind that is that this rally was primarily driven by institutional interests rather than retail. You know, of course, retail is present, you know, but this rally was of a different nature, right? And because of that, you know, it didn't go as high as everyone was expecting. and the top looked totally different than everybody thought it would look. If you look at what a retail-driven market top looks like, it looks a lot like Dogecoin. You know, it looks a lot like SafeMoon. It's these big parabolic rises, you know, followed by a blow off. We didn't get that on Bitcoin, so I think that in itself is a sign that, you know, things may be a little different, just in terms of how far Bitcoin can pull back. So the big question now is, does Bitcoin do its normal 80% retracement? We end up in the teens, right? That would be fucking ridiculous. Everybody would be wrecked out of their goddamn minds. Or, you know, do we have some kind of, you know, bottom, right, that's maybe at 20K? But I don't think it necessarily means that the bottom will be rounded. Because that's the thing, I don't know what the bottom's going to look like. I'm mainly just thinking, like, if this was this institutional driven rally, like, you know, these guys they came in, they rode the bull, you know, they hopped off, and at some point they're going to buy back in. That's a lot of cash, right? That's a lot of money that we have on the sidelines. So the real question here is, you know, what is the bottom of this market? And I think the answer to that question can be found in what's happening with these global macro markets. My current portfolio allocation is like 80% cash, and then the rest, I've got some Rook and I've got some Spell. So depending on what happens in, you know, the global macro markets, I think that's going to determine what happens in crypto. Because right now, it does look like global macro, you know, we're risking off. It looks like the dollar could very well pump from here. You know, if we have the dollar actually break out, you know, and we see, you know, the DXY pump to, you know, fucking 94, 95, 96. If we see something like that, you know, I think crypto can get really, really, really ugly. And I think that's the scenario to where we're seeing $800 Ethereum. That's the scenario to where we see, you know, $14,000 Bitcoin or whatever. Yeah, my taxes aren't going to be fun. Here's the thing, though. You know, I harvested losses really, really, really hard. Harvested all the losses, and you know, I had a lot of buys, you know, like initial dip buys, and when things didn't go my way, you know, I sold them at a small loss. So harvested some losses there. Anyway, yeah, taxes are never fun, guys. You know, so hopefully we're in a better situation by then. But I've got a ton of cash, meaning that when it comes time to pay taxes, I can afford to pay my taxes, and whatever's left is mine. Which is, you know, it's a pretty awesome feeling. Yeah, Ethereum Foundation always sells the top. So really right now, you know, my eyes are mainly on global macro. I do think that Ethereum 1600 is pretty much guaranteed. You know, I use token tax for my taxes. I had a really good experience with them. I filed an extension this year and, you know, paid an estimate. So I'm going to be filing my actual taxes, you know, coming up in the next couple of months. Taking care of business, you know, getting all that shit out of the way. I've already paid my 2020 taxes though, which is good. You know, you've got a lot of people in this boat where they were like, oh, I'm just gonna pay the penalty every month, right? And not pay my taxes right now, and you know, I'll pay the taxes when they're, you know, when we actually file taxes, and those people are fucked. I think I actually did harvest some good losses off that MTA position. Fortunately, like the MTA was the bag I sold for taxes, and I ended up selling that shit at like $2.50, which, you know, was a blessing. Here's the biggest thing that happened with MTA is they got shit on by Curve, and there was just no catching up after that. You know, they couldn't get the traction. I said I use token tax because they took, you know, like my centralized exchange APIs and shit. They took my Ethereum addresses. They calculated all of that shit. They did it for me. And I got the gold package too. So, you know, I had like an actual CPA and like people to look through it and like do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Hedgic's mega trash. Fortunately, I got out of Hedgic pretty much at the top too, just because it looked weak relative to other things. I don't know, what's Hedgic at now? Let's see. Yeah, Hedgic's at about 6 cents. I believe I sold my Hedgic around 50 cents. So I think I took a W on that one. Do I think that the run will resume 3 more years again? Or when do you think the run will resume? 3 more years. I'm not a believer in a 3-year bear market. Although once again, like the macro landscape, I think determines a lot of this kind of shit. For me, you know, it does seem like that this bear market is accelerated. You know, we're running at an accelerated pace. And if I was to compare this to the previous bear market, I would say that we are at the point in time where we were testing that 6K floor on Bitcoin, and we kept testing it and hitting it and bouncing and hitting it and bouncing and hitting it and bouncing. You know, eventually we capitulated down to 3K. You know, I think that capitulation down to 3K is next. You know, and that's once again just assuming that we have the dollar pump and we have markets risk off a bit and stuff like that. I don't think the bear market's going to be 3 years long. So really the purpose of this stream, you know, and I'm glad, you know, we had some time to chat and catch up. You know, I've missed doing these. I really do enjoy doing them a lot. The point of the stream is going to be, and look, let's just be clear about this. If you were buying altcoins right now, there is a very high probability that you are going to get absolutely smoked, okay? It just is what it is. You know, I'm the biggest shitcoin guy ever. Like, I hate it. Like, this goes against who I am. So Kathy Wood says the inflation trade is over. It's time to prep for a deflationary environment. That's interesting. You know, I don't really understand too much about deflationary and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I need to look some more into it. Look, I'm not like I don't pretend to know like anything about macroeconomic theory. I just know if the dollar pumps and you know, we have equities, you know, risking off a bit. I know that crypto is a risk asset and crypto is going to be affected. That's about the extent of my knowledge. You know, I think I'm just trying to see this through a lens of truth. I'm not like some macro econ guru or, you know, I honestly pretty much know jack shit about that kind of stuff. Okay, so Holland is saying, who's the one that made the comment about Kathy Wood, is saying that cash heavy portfolio is the way, you know, during a deflationary environment. Which is kind of interesting, and you know, I think that does kind of speak to the dollar pumping too, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, Bitcoin and crypto is not uncorrelated. It's a risk asset. It's been very much correlated, you know, for a while now, and you know, just is what it is. And that's the thing. Look, Bitcoin isn't dead. I don't think, at least. But I do wonder now, what's the fucking narrative? What's the fucking narrative here? Because it's not a store of value, right? What kind of fucking store of value do you know that goes down 50% in 2 months? It's not a hedge against inflation. Or maybe it is, but if we are entering a deflationary environment, you know, crypto is going to get smoked. It's definitely been, you know, clear that crypto is a risk asset. It's not digital gold. You know, what is it? It's not digital cash. What's the next narrative here? I remember at the end of 2017, you know, we had things like the CME was listing Bitcoin futures and stuff, and we were like, hey, you know, we made it. right? This is the big leagues now. We have institutional interest in Bitcoin. That was the dream. That's what we always wanted. That was the final frontier, so to speak. And now we are at this point where we had institutional interest in Bitcoin, but that institutional interest wasn't nearly what we were told it was, right? Not even close. Not even fucking close. So what's the next narrative? You know, I think institutional interest could still be a valid narrative. Maybe these guys are waiting to step in at a certain level. You know, and we'll see this reemergence of institutional infusion into Bitcoin, right? Or maybe we don't. You know, a lot of people say the final bullet in the chamber for Bitcoin is nation state adoption. You know, these guys have big treasuries, right? They could really pump the shit out of Bitcoin. And we're already seeing, you know, some nation state adoption, El Salvador, Panama, all of these dollarized, disenfranchised nations, right? But at the same time, what major country, right? We're having a currency war right now. We're fighting for this US dollar hegemony. Like, we're, you know, in China, of course, wants superiority for their yuan, and Russia wants superiority for the ruble. Everybody, all these countries, you know, are clinging to these currencies. Like, what major country, I mean, in what reality does a major country make Bitcoin legal tender? I'm not quite sure that narrative is valid at all. And, you know, maybe I'm just a gay bear and, like, I'm just in disbelief. But I just don't see that happening. So I wonder now, you know, that was kind of the final frontier. We had institutional interest and, you know, like, what? Okay, well, that kind of didn't catch on like we thought. Like, what the fuck is next? And now you have Michael Saylor, who's literally a fucking lunatic, buying just dog shit tons of Bitcoin. You know, Michael Saylor has become like one of the largest holders of Bitcoin, you know, through MicroStrategy. And who wants to buy that guy's bags? I mean, he's always been viewed, I think, in the corporate world as kind of a wild card. You know, I think he got fucking smoked in the .com bubble. I don't think it's over for crypto, okay? I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over. Yeah, Soros, look, Soros is famous for shorting shit into the ground, so everybody's like, oh my god, Soros is trading Bitcoin now. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing, right? I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over. It can't be. Every single time I've heard that it's over, in the sense that, like, crypto is dead, it's not actually dead. And I'm sure that there will be some fresh, new, you know, amazing narrative that emerges soon. That'll propel us to new all-time highs, and, you know, it'll be kumbaya, and everything will be great, right? One can hope, at least. Well, let me take a look at these markets really quick. You know, one of the really interesting things before the Bitcoin kind of accelerated today is the, you know, of course we were going down, right? But the actual down was more driven by derivatives, and now spot has joined the party, and we are getting pretty heavy spot selling here. You know, alongside derivative selling, you know, which is kind of difficult to overcome. You know, if you have heavy spot selling, they're just gonna crush it. So, yeah. Oof. I mean, this just there's no way to paint this. This just doesn't look good. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pull up some charts, and look, I know I've had a couple of requests. Can you chart my shitcoin? No, I can't. That's the answer. Why can't I chart your shitcoin? Because before I even chart it, it doesn't look good. And here's the thing: if what I think could happen happens, if we do get this dollar breakout, if, you know, major indices, equities, if all that risks off a little bit, right? It doesn't matter how good your shitcoin chart looks. You know why? Because Bitcoin is Big Daddy. It's still the king. And if Bitcoin goes down, everything does. That's the like I think the biggest lesson I learned from the 2018 bear market is that, look, there are some good looking setups right now on some of these shitcoins, right? And in 2018, there were some good looking setups on certain things. There were some good looking setups, right? And you know what I did? I bought them because I was afraid. I was so addicted to that dopamine of buying something and being passionate about it and doing my research and building, and everything. It went up and making that money, and I felt like I was really doing something. And I felt proud of myself, right? And then in 2018, those same amazing setups presented themselves, and every fucking time I bought and just smacked, I just got punched in the face right after I bought. Maybe not right after, but soon after. And that's the thing right now. Look, if this shit happens, if Bitcoin goes down, your setup, that setup that looks so fucking good, that you were so interested in, is going to get smacked. Doesn't matter what it is. So I've talked about, in reflection, some of my biggest, I guess, things that I did well in the last, bull season, and things that I didn't do well. Things that I didn't do well as I normally do, at least this go, was rotation, because I got complacent. I didn't need that much more money. In retrospect, it kind of went even against what I knew to be true. You don't trade your P&L. You don't trade your portfolio balance. You have to trade the markets, right? And DeFi very clearly rotated into just dog shit. And I think that was the sign right there that, the writing was on the wall. We've got these good productive assets that everybody's so interested in, right? An actual real strong narrative in crypto. And now we're going to rotate to shitcoins. And I fucked that rotation up. I totally missed it. I totally fucking missed it. And that was that, it sucks, but I can't really complain. I did really well. The number one thing I think I did poorly was being a holder. I don't think being a holder ever benefits you, really. I think that the way to make it here is to rotate properly. But not only that, what I should have done was I should have had a large cash position. Because I had plenty of portfolio balance. I should have converted half of it to cash and been there waiting on opportunities. I should have protected that downside more. And in a bear market, right, you do have opportunity. And it sucks because, you can have some amazing shorts in a bear market. You can make money, but, it's just not the same. Spinoza Jr. says, Messi, do you regret buying so much Rook? No. Believe it or not, so when Rook really pumped to, like $800 or whatever, I think I had like 2,000 Rook, and that was a pretty big stack back then, right? And I sold like half of it, and I did really well in Rook. The issue with Rook is I started buying the dip too early. I added up 1,000 or two around 400, and added 1,000 or two around 300. I just started buying it too early, but I've been swing trading Rook. I've been selling it, when it goes up, and I've been buying it low. I continue to flip it. I'm very interested in acquiring more Rook, but I really like sub $100 prices. I like to see some pain. I'd like to see some more punishment there. One of the unique things about Rook, versus other things is, Rook is a DAO, but Rook actually has a liquid treasury with $60 million of assets in it. Now, granted, that'll be a liquid treasury with $30 million of assets in it, if we go to Goblin Town, but still, that's plenty of money to hire talent, to keep going, to keep doing things. I think it's possible to make good money in a bear market, but I don't think you'll ever make as much money in a bear market as you will in a bull. Reason being, what's the maximum amount of profit I can make on a short, assuming that I'm trading with 1x leverage? That's 100%, right? So even if I short the top, and I've got $1 million, and I short the exact top, and it goes to 0, well, I've made $1 million. That's the shitty thing about a bear market. In a bull market, let's say I buy a million bucks at the exact bottom in a bull market. Well, then I can, you know, 4 or 5, 6x my money, right? So that's the amazing thing about a bull versus a bear. I mean, bear markets are just super gay. They suck. Nobody likes a bear market. You will never make as much money. One of the fun things about a bear market is you get to make money on the way down if you can accept the fact that it is a bear, and you're smart about it. And if you want to continue to be in the market, you get down there to the bottom and you're sitting on a fat stack of cash, and everybody else is wrecked as shit. Nobody else can even buy the dip. I know leverage solves this, but I don't want to fuck with leverage. I don't want to try my luck. I've never been good with leverage. I think it would just put too much pressure on my trading. You know, and right now I'm trading very, very well. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that I am just using 1x leverage. Yeah, the world is rigged for bulls, for sure. The world is rigged for bulls. But let's look at some charts. You know, I've got about 20 minutes left. We are only going to keep this at an hour because we have random tasks coming up next. I hope you guys tune into his stream. Check it out. That's Hxro Labs Live. Let's see here. Heyo, desktop. Okay. So here, you know, I have DXY. That's what we've got pulled up. And you can see here, you know, just how close we are to a breakout. You know, and I've drawn a couple of lines on here. We're definitely at resistance here. But we just keep grinding up into it. We just keep pushing up into it. And this is after a really strong dollar move that started, you know, mid-June. I mean, this just looks like a bullish chart to me. You know, of course, if we get rejected here, you know, I think crypto is going to take some more time to dump. But, you know, my hope is that we get this dollar rally, you know, we get this final capitulation, and it's just game over. That's the thing. I don't want to short my spot as a hedge, because I would rather be cash heavy and short and increase my cash position. And then when everybody is just screaming, you know, and in tears at the bottom, I can swoop in and I can buy, you know, bags way bigger than the bags I would have had at the top. And look, here's the thing, guys. Like, at the top, DeFi represented like maybe 5-6% dominance. Shit isn't over. Like, this, look, this is the strongest narrative I've ever seen in crypto. Like, this shit is going to at least 15, 20, 25% dominance. It just is. And I'll show you something really interesting too. Let's see here. So this is DeFi perp divided by shit perp. Okay? And this is basically just a way to visualize the money flow. You know, the musical chairs game between shitcoins and DeFi. And you can clearly see right here, this is where this rotation started. This is where DeFi pretty much topped out, right? And this was early February, and you can see right here that DeFi was significantly outperformed by shitcoins. You know, DeFi lost significant value versus shitcoins, right? And now we are here with a higher low, right, on DeFi versus shitcoins. So seeing strength on DeFi versus shitcoins is telling to me, because it tells me that DeFi potentially, you know, if we can continue this trend, right, it tells me that DeFi potentially has maybe more upside than shitcoins. Here, you know, there's more interest, there's more flows. Money's flowing out of shitcoins, money's flowing into productive assets. Doesn't mean it's bottom yet. This is just more of a tell of where we might be. So I'll look at something else. BTC USD. Okay. Delete this. Now, I've got a GAN fan drawn on this from a long time ago. And of course, you know, this week, I still remember, you know, we were watching that weekly close very, very, very carefully. And this was the tell. This is the tell that this time is different, in my opinion. For whatever reason, we have been holding this weekly close floor, right, at this level. And this is 34,747. We've been respecting that floor for a very long time. And then finally, right here, we get this weekly close below this floor. It's over. Now, let me show you why I think we're going to 20K. I mean, unless this weekly like really rallies and recovers towards the end. Welcome to the God Mode GAN fan. I've had this GAN fan on this chart for a very long time, and it's accurately mapped out major pivot points, right? Points of support and resistance. You can see it accurately mapped out this floor in 2020. It picked the bottom here on the COVID crash. Resistance right here at this line. You know, boom, blew through this. Once again, resistance right here, but support right there. And here is our failure right here. We couldn't make it to the top. It was over, right? But look at this. On this mega dump, look where we stopped, right here. We rallied up. Guess where we stopped? At the top. And here we are again, and now we're pushing down. So the next point on the GAN is right here at 21.6. And we are pushing down. Now, this is another thing that I've been using a lot recently, and that is the volume weighted average price, okay? And also standard deviations from that volume weighted average price. You can see this volume weighted average price here, and then the standard deviations, one standard deviation, +1, +2, and then -1, -2. And you can see that these levels too, look, have been just God tier. And not only, so I've got that anchored yearly, and I also have it anchored quarterly for like a more local trend. And you can see that it's just followed this really well, and it's respected these really well. I mean, they're powerful levels. Is the sell-off failing? Let's take a look. Oh, it's not failing at all. Not yet. So here's the thing, you know, we do have some absorption to the downside on spot, but we don't have that on derivatives. So here's the thing, spots joined the party here. This is CVD, this is an order flow indicator. The green is spot. So you can see here that CVD is doing what it's supposed to do on perps. Oh fuck, did I exit out of that? That sucks. Okay. It's doing what it's supposed to do on perps, and that's this blue line. Okay. So we have a lower low on Bitcoin, right? And we have a lower low on CVD. So you can see that the order flow is moving in the direction of price, and that's what we want to see, you know, for things going down, right? But when I look at spot CVD, you can see that while we do have spot sellers that have joined the party here, you can see that CVD has made a higher low relative to that, while price has made a lower low. So spot, while it has gotten more aggressive, spot hasn't really followed through yet. When you see spot follow through, I think that's when you'll see the trend accelerate to the downside, if spot does follow through. So just looking at you know, overall total CVD, you know, this isn't too bad. But once again, you see that again right here, where you see a lack of follow through, really. I mean, everybody is not totally fucking convinced that this is going down yet. And that's why this sell-off has been super grindy right now, because people aren't 100% convinced. I mean, there's obviously fear in the air, right? But I don't think that people are 100% convinced that we're going down. Now, let's take a look at Ethereum. Same thing at Ethereum. Kind of a lack of follow through here. See, and you can see that, you know, while we've made lower lows and prices, we don't have follow through on CVD yet. People aren't necessarily convinced, you know. Now this goes to Goblin Town when buyers realize that it's over, if it's over. But there's still a chance for this to bounce from here, I think, just based on what this is looking like, or at least it just hasn't accelerated yet. one of the really interesting things I'd like to note is we had this massive spike in CBD right here, but you can see price didn't follow. And we had very similar, not similar, okay, but right here, and this was the 2400 top, right? We had this big spike up in price and CBD didn't follow through. So basically what that means is that, you know, while we made a new high in price, you know, the buyers weren't aggressive enough to actually follow through and push this up. And you can see, you know, we jumped pretty good off of that. But this is really interesting. This is referred to as absorption because we've got a much higher high on CBD up here, right? But the market didn't really follow through. And you can see, you know, we're dumping off of that. Basically what this means is that we had really, really aggressive buying activity here and at like 2100s, right? Really aggressive, really aggressive buying. But the books were just thick as fuck. You know, people were selling like crazy. People were you know, had short orders, short limits, asks open. So we went down from this. So you can see that right here. And locally, you know, what you want to see is just follow through right here. So this is that low on CBD, and you can see that we followed through right here. You know, we made a low. We're grinding down. Here's another example of absorption right here. You know, we made a higher high on CBD, but didn't make a higher high here. So you can see, you know, we've reacted to the downside here as well. So right now, here's this double bottom hopium, right? We're on support. I would imagine, you know, as long as equities play ball here, let's see what we're doing on SPX. So I'd imagine, you know, as long as equities kind of play ball here, you know, and don't immediately nuke, that we will get a bit of relief on Bitcoin, you know, on Ethereum. We'll see what happens. But just you know, in terms of how this looks, and look, I'll just kind of narrate this as it's going up. So observe. Okay. So this is this last like major CBD level, right? This is where we are right during this cluster, whatever the fuck was going on right here. And we do have this spike up in CBD. But at the same time, you know, this spike isn't back up to here, is it? Here's this right here. And you can see right here on Bitcoin, this is the level we were at. Now price has made a new high, right? But CBD did not make a new high relative to price. So I would imagine this rally gets sold into. Now the real question here is when it gets sold into, you know, do we soak that up on the downside right here? And you know, do we make another stab up here? Do we try to go higher? Or is this just fucking party over? Is it smoked? It's an interesting study though. I'd encourage everybody to read up about ordered flow, you know, CBD. If you look it up, it's cumulative volume delta. You know, you can find that information if you just Google cumulative volume delta. I think it can be a huge assist to your trading. It can help you determine what moves to fade, that sort of thing. Very powerful tool. Check it out. Okay, we didn't really get to do like Nansen and stuff today, which sucks, but I guess we'll get around to that next time. So I think we can just kind of look at some more charts, you know, until then. I am going to look at this Ethereum chart right here. I'm short from right here. And here's your bull case for Ethereum. I know we've talked a lot of bear talk today, so I want to talk bull case. Okay, bearish. We are below this weekly level, right? That's bearish, 100%. Bull case. Here's this trend line right here. And we have a horizontal level right here. So far, Ethereum price has respected this trend line. But even then, like when you look at this, with Sketch, you know, in terms of downside, is we had this really nice, like what could have been a reversal candle right here. And we attempted to rally off of that candle after yesterday's daily close. And as I pointed out, you know, there was just a huge lack of follow through on this move, and we dumped then. So now, you know, we're looking at potentially this daily bearish engulfing candle forming, you know, assuming that things don't change, assuming that we don't rally, we should have some degree of heavy resistance up towards 1930 or so. But this just price action wise is not a very good look. And when I look at the oscillators, I see a lot of potential here because we have this kind of aggressive selling going on right here, right? I see a lot of potential here to potentially have some kind of like bullish divergence form on Ethereum. You know, if we were able to dump to 1600, for example, and we were able to find like really, really strong support, you know, and we didn't see lower lows on this daily willy, for me, that would be a good sign that, you know, we've got a really, really nice relief bounce coming. And where exactly that relief bounce takes us, I'm not quite sure. As you can see right here, I'm using that same volume weighted average price plus standard deviations. And this is that ultimate bear, 844, that people have been talking about. 1600, look, I'm very, very certain, and I think at least that we will see 1600. In terms of 800, once again, I think these mega bear targets are highly dependent on, you know, what the global macro markets do. So if you see Bitcoin taking a 50% haircut, the odds are that Bitcoin is going to be underperformed by Ethereum. And if you just think about that, you know, if we're talking Bitcoin 20K and we're talking Bitcoin 20K and we're serious about it, right? That's about 55% down from where we are, like, you know, from 30 to 50. And you can look at Ethereum and you can see that a 50% move to the downside would take us down to, you know, 850, 900 bucks, something like that. You know, moving to higher time frames, I like the 3-day a lot too. You can see that, you know, our indicators, we've got our willy moving into embedded state on the 3-day. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is support and that it's going to pump, but it's what you would want to see. You know, you'd want to see this move down here and then cross back up. That'd be a pretty strong buy signal. 3-day is a good high time frame. It's higher than a day, lower than a week. Kind of helps you determine, you know, might be a little bit faster signal than a week. How about that? But then on the weekly time frame, you know, you can see that we have this downtrend on our willy, and it's not even close to being embedded yet. And also, you know, FSVZO and in silico indicator, we can see it's crossed down through this midline and is in bear territory now. Really no signs of turning up. And what we're looking at on Ethereum right now is in my opinion, the embodiment of a dead cat bounce. And what I mean by a dead cat is this. This is literally what a dead cat is. You know, and a lot of times these dead cats are, you know, they're indicative that, you know, the bulls are stepping in and they just keep getting fucking shit on over and over and over again. Eventually it fails. BNT, that's something that I'm really interested in buying the dip on. BNT V3 is supposed to be a game changer. This is like one of the really scary things to me. Like when looking at these charts, you know, once again, these levels have been absolutely god tier. And what we're seeing on Bancor is this level is at literally 85 cents. You know, that's all the way down here. It's a long way down. And that's the crazy thing is, you know, right here you could say, well, you know, Bancor used to be $9 and now it's at $2.89. Like, this is a fantastic buy. Like, I'm going to go all in right here, right? Well, that's another 70% drawdown if it happens. I don't know if it will. Honestly, I have no idea. You know, I think a better bet here is to bid this right here, $1.36 or so. That's the point of control. Really, really, really strong volume shelf right here. So I would imagine somewhere at this point, like, enough is enough. Like, people are going to be stepping in and chomping at the bits to get in something like this. I think it looks really, really good. Let's take a look at Ren. I've talked a bit about Ren. Ren is interesting because Ren is like breaking down right now. And you can see this trend line, okay? This is this trend line. It's a valid trend line. You know, it's really, really well anchored, right? So you can see how important this is. This is the uptrend line, and Ren has respected this uptrend line thus far. And right here, you know, you can see once again this dead cat bounce. And this dead cat was pussy as fuck. You can see it breaking below this diagonal. This is that uptrend. I would imagine we see acceleration here. I'd love to get some Ren around 16 cents, 17 cents. Once again, that's about 50% downside. But, you know, if we really go to Goblin Town here, like, who knows? 15-cent Ren. I think Ren's really strong fundamental bet. You know, it's an actual Alameda Sam coin. You know it's not going away. You know the team's not going away. You know that there's going to be support for it. You know shit is going to be getting built on it and getting built for it. So I really like Ren. You know, the correct attitude here is to realize what's going on in the market and to be excited about these opportunities. Because here's the thing, you know, up here, think about how much Ren maybe you wanted to have. Wow, I wish I had 1 million Ren. That'd be sick, right? Now you got a chance to have 1 million Ren. That's the way I'm looking at these things. You know, even though I don't have as much money, and I won't at the bottom, I won't have as much money as I had at the top of the bull market. I'll have more coins than I had at the top of the bull market. So even if we just retest all-time highs, right? And that's our next season, and we're just we're never seeing all-time high again. But we retest. You know, then I'm in good shape, right? I end up with more than I had. Is Ren really a Sam coin? Yeah. Alameda acquired Ren. Ren is pretty much going to be a de facto bridge for bringing assets on other chains to Solana. What if we never go up again? This is not a good look though. 100%. You know, and what we're seeing in a lot of these altcoins is super telling. I'd love to see some acceleration on these altcoins, even if we don't really accelerate that hard at Bitcoin or whatever, just because like these shitcoins just need to fucking dump. Like the shitcoins are high beta, like they need to go down more. Let's check this out. Yep. So you can see here, you know, very clearly CBD, you've got this kind of divergence here, right? And you can see that this little rally was faded. And let's see what Spot is doing. Now this is really important, okay? Because if Spot is like leading this rally, if Spot's leading the sell-off, and you know Spot's really bearish, like there's not really anything anybody can do about it. And you can see here that Spot is not following through really at all. Nobody wants to buy down here. People are terrified. You know, people buying down here are fucking degenerate derivatives traders. So you can see Spot isn't following through. So once again, you know, I want to see follow through right here. You know, I want to see Spot CVD make new lows. I eventually want to see Spot CVD clear this low down here. And that would rule out this divergence. That would cancel out this divergence right here. Right now, we're kind of in no man's land. This isn't the time to smash the short button. And it's not the time to smash the buy button either, because, you know, it really could kind of go either way. No, unfortunately, I don't have the ability to segment Ethereum into in a perpetual and spot CVD. But, you know, this is pretty much just kind of doing what you'd expect it to do. I will show you this right here. We've got this absorption right here locally, which points to, in my opinion, us breaking this level down. You can see right here, there's this double bottom. We're on support hopium. You see CVD making a new high right here, right? So buyers were super, super aggressive on this push up. Oh my God, it's a double bottom. I got to get in. I got to get long. And you can see that while CVD made a new high, price did not. That's absorption. So I would imagine we have more downside likely. Once again, these trends really haven't even accelerated yet. Look, all these shitcoins are trash. One of the things I'm going to do is buy Rook under $100. And the real question here is how low does Rook go? Does it go to 80 bucks? Does it go to 40 bucks? I don't know. I'm going to start probably buying it maybe in the $80 range and buying it hard. Now, I already have Rook right now, but like I want a big bag. Like I said, guys, I mean, Rook has power over a very large treasury in terms of a DAO that gives it more intrinsic value than almost anything out there right now. But time and a place. As much as I want to just have a monster Rook bag right now, it's just not time. You know, if the market goes negative 50%, like guess what? We're going to see Rook at 60 bucks and, you know, there's nothing you can fucking do about it. You know, I'm very interested in buying Curve. I'd like to buy Curve under $1. I'd like to buy Convex lower as well. Convex closer to $1 would be an amazing snag. Continuing to just buy a little bit of Spell, you know, here and there. Very bullish on Spell, but once again, like let's say you have 1 Ethereum or whatever right now, or however big your stack is, and like let's say you're waiting to buy these dips. Here's the thing, you know, you say, oh my god, the prices are great right now. You know, can we let's go ahead and buy, you know, let's get invested. You get invested as I showed you with BNT. Like what if you get invested right now and you think you're down bad and then you take a 50% haircut? It's just better to, in my opinion, realize that, hey, I've already drawn down, I've got a certain amount of money, and you need to consider the fact, like, could I live with myself if I had 50% less money, you know, than I have right now? Yeah, Torn looks so fucked. Torn looks so fucked. So I'm 50%, you know, can I survive another 50% drawdown? Can I live with myself? For me, the answer is no. So what I would rather do is I'd rather not buy the bottom and either buy like, oh my God, like we're definitely bullish again. So I'd like get in and I wouldn't have to live through that drawdown. Or I could just be patient and I can just wait. And I can see what happens. I think that's my best move here. What do I think of ID Everest? I mean, it's shit. It's shit, just like all these other altcoins. They're all shit. It looks bad. Alpha shit. All these things are shit. They just are, boys. And I think that will become increasingly, glaringly obvious if we do get... Yeah, the alpha bounce was Chad as fuck. I think that'll be... And really, a lot of that alpha bounce was due to that Delphi report, I think. But here's the thing, once again, it doesn't matter what the fuck it is. If Daddy Bitcoin decides we're going to 20K, guys, altcoins are high beta, like they're gonna go low, they're gonna risk more than 50% off, like they're gonna go down hard. Sol's gonna go down hard. You know, one thing fundamentally I'd be very interested in buying is like some FTT, you know, in the $10 to $15 range. Like I think that'd be just the snag of the century. And that's the thing, all of DeFi did a bearish retest from the 200-day EMA, MA, whatever. That's exactly what Ethereum just did too. So once again, I do think we're at a point in time where a lot of people have bought this Ethereum dip, you know, hoping for this upside. And we're watching this right now, and we're waiting for these bulls that bought this dip to start capitulating and really accelerate this to the downside. Yeah, I'd buy the fuck out of 88 MPH at 10 bucks, but I'm not going to buy sooner than that. You know, there's going to be value. I mean, here's the thing. Can you imagine how few people are going to be liquid and have money to buy these dips if we go down another 50%? Like almost no one. They're going to be wrecked. So you're going to be a kid in a candy store. I mean, everything's going to be there waiting for you to come in and buy it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah, we'll take one quick look at Aave, and then I am going to sign off. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful example of what exactly is going on here. Look at this. This was the floor. This is, I mean, diamond support for Aave. Right? Multiple times. You know, we came down, we bounced. Oh, nope, don't think so. Bearish retest, guys. Literally exactly what this is. Bearish retest. Now let's go down some more. Let's explore this downside. Now, of course, you know, where are the buyers going to be? Well, now we have a trend line, right? Which is really nice. So if Aave comes down here, I'm going to start buying it like mad. Around 120, 130 bucks. I think Aave is poised as one of the industry leaders, and DeFi borrowing and lending is like one of the best use cases for DeFi. Aave as an institutional portal, and very clearly right here, you know, you can see what bounced really strong. Synthetics, Aave, right? There's mega interest in these things. So I think if we get down to proper levels, you know, I think this would just be the fucking buy of a century. Look, we even have an upper trend line too. Oof, that's kind of gross, right? It's a fucking fat ass channel. Let's say if we didn't do the wick method on the top, you know, maybe something closer to that. Still really, really nasty. And this will accelerate too. Check this out. Right here. Oh my god. That's around 92 bucks. I do think that this is where we're going. I think it's inevitable. Even the best shit's gonna do this. But I mean, this is like generational wealth acquisition opportunity down here. And you should just be praying that we get down here. I mean, that would be fucking awesome, right? For now, that's a bearish retest though. Like the markets are going bearish, and even look at this. We had these daily bullish candles yesterday, right? And they're just getting faded. Like we're just dumping through them, you know, that's pretty fucking bearish. Synthetics also bounce really fucking hard, right? So we'll take a look at that. I lied. I'm gonna take a look at this and then I'm signing off. You know, and synthetics was actually like one of the weaker. Here, we got this trend line right here. I'm gonna go ahead and draw it. Synthetics was kind of weaker, you know, towards the end of this DeFi trend. So we've got this diagonal here, you know, we dump below the diagonal and we reclaim the diagonal, but just like Aave, we've got this bearish retest in synthetics. You can see that right here, right? You can see this is the point where it kind of tried. It was like, oh, you know, what way are we going? Actually, we're going down. And you can see that, you know, we had this mega dump right here. That was the support level. And once again, bearish retest. Time to explore new lows. Synthetics is really interesting because synthetics was actually just kind of shit until, you know, that whole season. Synthetics really needed layer 2 to thrive, and now we have this layer 2. So, you know, I'm very, very interested in synthetics. I'm super bullish in synthetics, but I'd really, really like to get synthetics lower here. You know, how low? I do think that this may have been the bottom on synthetics right here. Around $5.39. I mean, if we got any lower, I would imagine to be somewhere in the $4 range. But, you know, watch this. You know, we'll see some real acceleration, I think, when we break below this trend line, you know, if we're able to do so. That's around $9, $8.80. Down here, I'm a fucking buyer of synthetics just all fucking day. Kyber Network Crystal is another one. Fuck, I just keep going. I can't help myself. Now, one interesting thing here about Kyber Network Crystal is that you can see ever since we started this uptrend, which has been going on since the end of 2019, this scan level right here has been an epic buy. It's been pretty much the bottom every time. Now, Kyber has just released their new DMM, which plays into the capital efficiency narrative, you know, very similarly to Uniswap v3. So this Kyber Network Crystal may be a good buy here around $1. You know, we'll see. And once again, we do have a trend line, you know, that we can draw here on the bottom, you know, which does make this interesting because I would imagine that we will have buyers step in at these levels. That's, yeah, around $1. I think KNC is something that may be interesting to pick up. This is OG DeFi. This has Lindy. You know, this has been around a long time. It's not going anywhere. This has smart engineers. This has innovators, respect. Luna is something else that people wanted to look at. This actually is the last one I'm doing, okay? Yikes. I mean, the thing about Luna here is like if it goes kind of like below this level, right? There's nothing but air down there. Like absolutely nothing but air. And this was like one of the best performers of 2020 or 2021, right? Look at this. In early January, Luna was 76 cents and it pumped all the way to 22. Like, That's like a life-changing pump, and that's why bull markets are better than bear markets. Let's see here. Let's say you bought down here in January and you sold the top. You know, you made 3,000%. It's a 30x. Let's say you shorted the exact top. See, you've only made 70%. That's what's so shitty about being a bear, right? Being a bear is fucking retarded. Like, it sucks. You really just don't. You make money in a bull market. You make a bit of money in a bear if you play your cards right, but you make your fucking bread and butter in the bull. Just is what it is. Okay, fine, Ren. But for real, like... Yikes. Should have smoked. Once again, really interesting here. You know, we've got this diagonal for Rune. You know, let's say that, and this is interesting too. You know, you guys know I talk about 3 drives a lot and then some relief. So look at this: 1, 2, 3. So imagine Rune at like $3.50, right? I think I'd be a buyer of that here. And drawdown from ATH, we're talking around 80%. You know, which we saw some of the best DeFi shit do that. Fuck. You know what? I want to look at Compound. Just bear with me, guys. I know I've been LARPing about leaving, but... Yeah, you can ask RT to do these. You know what? I'd almost be willing to say, you know, this is the best way to look at this. So here's your, right, here's your resistance. We've got a swing failure point on that, you know, and now we're moving to the downside. Here's the thing, once again, borrowing and lending is proven that it's one of the strongest use cases for DeFi. It's what has very obvious product market fit, a lot of institutional interest. I do think Compound would be very, very interesting. Excuse me. A very, very interesting buy around 200 bucks. You know, a lot of these DeFi things are just really, really strong here and are showing strength. And maybe they're going to accelerate, and maybe we're going to have a bad time. We've got a diagonal on this as well, though. So let's check this out. So if we really nuke here, maybe around 130 bucks, something like that. And there's definitely horizontal confluence here. See? Once again, though, these are gay bear, like hyper bear targets. Like, here's the thing: if Ethereum hits 1600, I don't think that it's really like, hey, I need to wait on these, you know, Aave to get to 100 bucks or this or that, because they may never get there. Okay, they may never get there. I think if we actually hit that 1600 target on Ethereum, that we need to be looking at charts and we need to be looking at what can have some strength from there. And that's my plan, at least. And we're at resistance on Tomo. You know, it is nice to see a good rally like this, especially when the rest of the market is dumping. But this is the kind of thing where, like, look, if Bitcoin nukes, everything goes with it. So if I was in Tomo and I'm really, really excited up here, right? Oh my God, you know, thank God I'm not as drawn down as I used to be. Think about this. From the top to the bottom, you were 60% drawn down. Now you're only 30% drawn down. So I'd take that as a blessing and I'd get the fuck out. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You know, what are the odds of this being the next AXS? Maybe it is, but what are the odds? You know, Bitcoin nukes and this is just going to go down. It just is what it is. But guys, Random Task is going to be on in about 10 minutes. Hxro Labs Live. If you've enjoyed Shitcoin Church, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to our Hxro Labs Live channel so you don't miss out on the next one. We are going to be doing these weekly, maybe bi-weekly again. I really enjoyed this. It's good to talk through my thoughts with you guys, hear your thoughts. look at these charts together. We are going to make it, but you got to be smart. You got to play your cards right. Don't get too greedy. And we'll make it. At Ethereum 1600, I'm going to be buying shit. Maybe not all in. Depends on what the market's looking like. Depends on what the dollar's looking like. Depends on what equities are looking like. But I am looking to be a buyer there. Because if it's not 1600, then we're going for the Giganuke. And I do think that the Giganuke is on the table. That's it, guys. Survive. Thanks for coming. And until next time, adios.